Why, hello, YouTube! Greetings from the Lazy Eyebrow Reviewer. So, it's October 21st, 2015. Hoverboards are the subject of YouTube troll videos. The flying car does not exist. And Nike has made self-lacing shoes. The future is great, but not for those reasons. Because 30 years ago, this incredible trilogy came out, and 2 years ago, LEGO cranked out this 401-piece box of pure amazingness. So, before we dive into this review, we gotta build the car.
Hey, Einstein, where's the dot, boy? Huh?
So here we have it, the LEGO DeLorean DMC-12, the only car ever to be pumped out of the DeLorean company, so we can drop the DMC-12 suffix and call it the DeLorean. But wait, this isn't a car review, for this is a Back to the Future DeLorean built out of solid plastic.
All about gas!
So the DeLorean time machine. First off, I'm surprised they even got the licensing in the first place for this, and second, thank goodness the LEGO Ideas project was started. Otherwise, this and the LEGO Doctor Who and other amazing sets probably wouldn't even be a thing. This particular model though, yes, she is a thing of beauty. Sporty looking, like the original car was. Parts and wires hanging off it, like the movie version had. Who could ask for more? Well, I could apparently, for I have modified this car. First off, the headlights. The instructions show you to do the front of the car like this, with the headlights ending up like this as your result. I didn't really like the way this looked, so I did what I always do and customize it. But it's LEGO, so it is way easier to customize than a Transformer. First, I played around with the back plating so that I could turn the 1x2 clear tile that they had called headlights into two 1x1 clear headlights, mainly because the DMC-12 had 4 headlights and not 2 rectangular ones. Further modifications I want to do to this bit is to change all the light gray pieces in the back to charcoal, because the car did that, change the headlights to flat tile 1x1 instead of studded, and change the white bumper to metallic instead of white, and I'll talk about why later. The other modification I did was to the rear exhaust vents? Is that what they were? I mean, the only use I've seen with them is in the first bit of the movie when what seemed like liquid nitrogen came shooting out of them, but that was the one and only time that ever happened. Anyway, I rearranged the pieces in this orientation while also swapping out 2 of the bricks that have studs on the sides to 1x1 bricks that have no studs on the sides. The instructions would have you do it this way, but I find that leaves much to be desired with random holes in the top, which weren't in the movie, and overall, the random chopped up gaudy nature of it sucks. So here's what I did. I took the 2x2 slopey bit, applied the hinges like the instructions said, but reversed them, added 2 of those blocks that have studs on the side, and then gave it the 1x2 black tile like the instructions say to do, and turned it inward as opposed to outward, and then finished up with the 1x1 bricks. This ends up giving it quite the finished look, while still giving it the celled exhaust vent look. Suffice to say, I love it. So now to the rest of the car, and ooh man does it ever look great. Just from head to toe, this is one accurate vehicle for LEGO standards. Totally reminiscent of the movie it jumped out of. I love how there's clearly a car underneath all the extra bits that make it a time machine. The grade of the hood, the sloping nature of the roof posts, the tubes that work themselves down and around the car doors. I love how the dashboard has the destination time and present time. Sadly, no previous time, but those two I find are the most important, so they're there. Fun fact, the instructions say that the destination time is the date that the first LEGO brick was ever produced. The present time says October 26th, 1985, which any Back to the Future fan would know is the date that the first time travel experiment was completed and the day Marty left and returned to the start and end of the movie. I love how they added a special printed block for the flux capacitor. What time machine would be complete without it? The flux capacitor also has printed label maker stickers that say disconnect capacitor drive before opening and shield eyes from light. Man, they did not miss a thing. I love the binoculars that are whatever this component was in the movie. I love all the bits of tech lying around in the back, as well as the plutonium chamber. And lastly, those rear taillights, and my favorite part, the out-of-time license plate. Oh, this thing is incredible, and it just hits all the right notes for me. For size comparison, here it is with Masterpiece Red Alert and Masterpiece Blue Streak, and probably not perfect scale, but I still like it. And that shot at the beginning with Optimus's trailer, that's not trick photography or anything. That actually fits inside, and am I ever happy it does. So, on to articulation. The exhaust vents move. They're not really supposed to, you can just orient them to your liking. The doors open like a DeLorean would. You have no idea the smile that was on my face the moment I built the doors and realized they could do this. It just would not be the DeLorean without it. You can orient the doors however you want. This looks silly to me. It's just able to do this, that's all. To be honest, I'm thinking of craggling the doors together and just leaving the roof hinges intact. Mainly because the hinge is connected through a single stud and ends up disconnecting more often than not. And finally, the tires. They have hover mode built into the design. Do you know how amazing this is? Like, I was totally expecting it to be a side feature that you would have to unclip the wheels, build a hover apparatus, and reconnect it. But no siree Bob. They included it in the design. That is incredible. Since we're on here, though, let's talk conversions and accessories. As we all know, hover mode was a Back to the Future 2 thing, and if you argue that it was in the first one, then sure, it was. But only because it was a 3-minute build-up to the second movie, so I classify it as a second movie thing. And while it wouldn't be the second movie without the Mr. Fusion home reactor, an incredible device that would put so many power companies out of business, so research into something like this has probably never even been started. Regardless, this is an accessory that can either plug into the handle of the plutonium chamber, or you can move that yellow stud that is the handle and fit it snugly into the black disc that is the chamber. Man, am I happy this was added. For extra flair, swap out the 1985 license plate with the 2015 Fantasy Barcode license plate. Honestly, I have no idea why Zemeckis thought this would ever be a thing, but oh well, it was in the movie, so it's in this set. Sweet. Personally, I prefer the out-of-time plate, so I usually leave that on anyway. So, that's Back to the Future 2 modifications. But what if your Lego DeLorean had been struck by lightning and 99 its way out of this time and had been sitting for 75 years and its tires had rotted away? Well, fear not, for this set also includes the 1955 Macro Trip, which replaces one of the 1x4 hood tiles and red rims for the Back to the Future 3 fan and all of us. Sadly, the rims aren't white-walled, but I'm sure a lick of white paint could fix that in a jiffy. I just have none at the moment. Man, does this set ever come with just about everything. Included in this just about everything is Doc in a lab coat, such as you would see in the beginning of the movie. Also printed on the front is a stopwatch, a rag, and a pen or two. On the back is a radioactive symbol. And Marty in his jeans, jean jacket, plaid shirt, and life preserver that you would see him at the beginning of the Back to the Future 1 movie. Also included are scared faces on the back of their heads. Why are they scared? Well, they just found out they'd be stuck in 1885, that's why. For the DeLorean, sadly, can't be converted into a rail mode. It's too wide for the LEGO rail system, unfortunately. As for what else it comes with, 4 clear bits for hover mode, which is always nice, and a skateboard. But it's purple. If they were going for hoverboard, that thing was pink, so step up your game, LEGO. You're better than this. Lastly, the 2 minifigures can both squish into the car, and I do mean squish. Neither will peg in, and the doors won't close, and it's really a rather embarrassing affair. So to make it better, here's what you do. Pop off their arms, and they'll fit just perfectly. So that was my review for the LEGO Ideas Back to the Future DeLorean set. I love this set so much. Ironically, there's a funny story that goes along with it that involves my friend and former roommate Dan. I shall now relate this to you since the review is over. Feel free to skip to the time indicated if you want to skip to the end, as there are a few announcements. Anyway, we lived in Red Deer at the time. An elderly lady had just asked us to move one particular Saturday down south of Calgary, so it's a 2-hour drive away. So we drove down. Finding we had some time, we stopped at a Toys R Us to check out some Lego and some other things and whatever. And anyway, we saw this set and a few others. Figuring maybe we'd come back, we set out for the rest of our journey. When we got there half an hour ahead of schedule after picking up my then fiancée, we were told that she apparently didn't have anything to move in the first place. We ended up helping her neighbor, received a check, and then left setting back for home. As we left, it started thundering and lightning. Cynthia sprung a massive migraine and had to go home, as we were living separately. And somewhere along the way, we lost the check. We stopped in at IKEA as Dan wanted some furniture. We found the shelving unit we wanted, picked that up, and trudged back to the car. Being that we were a little miserable at this point and ended up getting lost to boot, we decided, you know what? Forget it. Let's go get that DeLorean we saw earlier. So we drove back to that Toys R Us. Dan had just finished getting paid, so not only did we buy 2 DeLoreans, but an A-Wing, an X-Wing, a B-Wing, the Millennium Falcon, and a TIE Fighter. Well, that put a massive smile on our faces. Then, as we left the store feeling mighty pleased, we walked into the store not only to be greeted with sunshine, but a massive rainbow from end to end over the store. I don't think 2 guys carrying armloads of Lego could have been more better summed up by this incredible weather that had just happened in somewhere in Alberta. It was wonderful. So anyway, announcement time. I'm counting this review as my November review since I'm moving for the final time for a while. Finally. Yes, my wife and I have just secured a new apartment to live in, which also means reviews should be back up for December. Though, to be honest, I don't know if I'm going to keep this first Wednesday of the month thing. I'll probably upload once a month, but no guarantees on that. The deadline that came with having a schedule for this channel made the reviews feel like homework, I guess, and more often than not would get crammed into the last 3 days before the first Wednesday of the month, making them feel rushed and making me feel like a slave to my hobby. And, well, I don't know if you guys have noticed or not, but I don't feel these last 4 or 5 reviews have been my best work. I go back and watch them and I think they feel tired without the love I used to pour into these reviews. And I want that back. I want to make the kind of videos I used to make when I was going through university, which, it sounds strange, I know, go back to a time when I had no time to do these things, but that's what I want to do. For those worried that this means you might have to go months at a time without one of my videos, because I know there are a few of you out there like that, please don't worry. Knowing me, I never stop animating. During these past 3 months, I was going stir-crazy not animating. It's my stress reliever. I mean, speaking of university, did you know during the first month of my course, I uploaded 12 videos in a month? 8 of which were reviews, and 4 of which were shorts. My second month saw reviews like Masterpiece Optimus, probably my favorite review that I've ever done out of these 73 reviews. Not to mention other reviews I loved to do back then and still love to watch. So basically, don't worry about the channel. It's not going to stop. I just realized having a set date for reviews was getting in the way of my creative freedom. Not to mention, I've kind of got a baby on the way, so you might want to expect a few things come the summertime. So anyway, that was my long-winded announcement that I threw into a review that I knew a good majority of you would watch, because about a tenth of you watched the updates. Reviews and other videos are going to be happening again. I know I have a few reviews still in boxes that are just waiting to get unpacked and happen. Otherwise, during my transitionary period, I managed to buy a Masterpiece Wheeljack, Bumblebee, Apollyon, and Defensor, and I'm still waiting for a few pieces before I do the Superion review. I really want to do that figure justice. Anyway, this has been the Lazy Arbitrary Reviewer. I'm off to work now because roads, where I work, I don't need roads. Corny, I know. And then afterwards, a Back to the Future marathon with a bunch of friends after work. Happy October 21st, 2015, everybody. Toodles!